guys here today. I welcome you. If this is your first time watching one of these lives, we do lives about the Bible every Tuesday and Friday. So happy Sabbath as well tomorrow. Well, it's already Saturday, and Saturday is the Sabbath. So happy Sabbath. And well, in the lives, we do reading about the Bible. So we read the Bible, we study the Bible. And on Tuesdays, we read the New Testament, and on Fridays, we read the Old Testament. So today, we're going to be reading the Old Testament. I read it in order, so I'm not going to be skipping through books and like talking in one live about one book and then in another live about another book. We read basically from Genesis 1 to all the way to like the last book of the apocalypse. I will sorry, I was gonna say apocalypse, but that's the name of the book in Spanish. And the book is called Revelation, right? The last book of the Bible is Revelation. The first book is Genesis. So I read it from Genesis to Revelation, but I know that the New Testament is very important because it talks about Jesus, and a lot of people don't know about certain things about Jesus. So that's why we're gonna start reading about the New Testament on Tuesday. Okay, so we've been this is like the fourth or fifth live that I've done about the Old Testament. So as you guys already saw in the title, we're going to be reading about Noah and the flood, the story and what caused the flood, right? Why did God send the flood to the earth? So we're in that story. So we already read Adam and Eve, the creation, Cain and Abel, etc. So basically the creation, Adam and Eve, Cain and Abel, and then how many years did Adam live? Or if Adam got to meet Noah. I think this is the fifth live. But if you guys are interested in watching those last titles that I mentioned, you can go watch them. I have them in the channel. They're lives as well. So yeah, so we're gonna be reading in order. So let's say after this live, we're gonna be reading the next story in the next chapter of the book of Genesis until we finish the book of Genesis. Then after that, we're gonna be reading Exodus. It's because I read it in Spanish, so I was trying to translate it. So yeah, I also have a Spanish channel. It's in this channel, attached to this channel. So if you guys want to go check it out, if you speak Spanish, if you're bilingual, or if you know anyone that want to learn more about God and they don't know English. So yeah, so we're gonna be reading today about Noah and the flood and what caused it. So I'm gonna be mentioning some stuff that are in the book of Enoch. I really recommend this book. This book is supposed to be in the Bible, but they took it out of the Bible because it tells a lot of truths that there's some books that belong to the Bible that they took them away because, it was a bit, they didn't like them. But there's many Christian denominations or Christian churches that they have these books in the Bible. Like, for example, I think the Catholic Bible, they have some books in the Bible that most other denominations don't have. So you can see the difference, right? There's some books included. So for me, it's very important to like get those books that were taken out of the Bible because there's some information that you're gonna be like, your mind is gonna blow. But anyways, I'm gonna read some. Well, I'm not gonna read it. I'm just gonna tell you some stuff that I already read from this book about what caused the flood. Because the flood, Noah and the flood, there's some stuff that caused the flood that are mentioned here, but there's no like complete details about it. So the book of Enoch tells those details because Enoch was living during those days. He was Noah's great grandpa. Enoch was Noah's great grandpa, and he was a prophet. He never died. God took him away, just like he took Elijah. So yeah, he did a lot of prophecies. So yeah, I really recommend this book. So I'm gonna be telling you guys some stuff about the book and what is mentioned here about what caused the flood. I recommend you guys to go watch a video that I have in the channel called "Are Mermaids and Do Mermaids and Giants Exist?" or "Do Giants and Mermaids Exist?" So I talk about this book there, and I read you guys some of the passages that I'm gonna be mentioning in this live. So yeah, you can also do your own research and know that this is true. So yeah, we're gonna start reading at chapter 6 of Genesis, verse 9. And we're gonna read the story of Noah and the flood is very long. So I'm gonna be basically splitting these lives in two. So we're gonna be reading Noah and the flood and what caused the flood and everything in this live. And then after that, in the next live on next Friday, we're gonna be reading how much time did the flu lasted for, so was it years, months, a year, how much time, weeks, days. So yeah, we're gonna be reading that next week. So for now, we're just gonna learn what caused the flood and the story of Noah and the flood, right? Because I remember talking to a friend in my at work, sorry, and we were talking about Noah and the flood. Well, I like told her about it, and she had no idea. And like they're Christians, so I feel that now in these days, and I feel that even before, it's just that a lot of people think that if they go to church and everything, but it's very important to know God, right? So like it's not about just like going to church and taking your kids, but your kids are gonna grow up someday, and if you don't explain to them about God, about his truth, about the stories in the Bible, they're gonna have no idea why they're going to church. They're gonna have they're gonna have no idea who God they are worshiping. So, and then other people from the outside, they would come and be like, oh yeah, your God is false or this or that, and they're gonna be like, oh well, I'm gonna believe you, because they don't know the God that they're worshiping. So it's very important. And I kept asking people from work, like, do you know the story of Noah and the flood? Or do you know Noah? Do you know who Noah is? And they're like, isn't a guy with a boat? So they had like some details about it. So it really caught my attention that a lot of people don't know some of these details. And that's okay. That's okay. But yeah, it's very important to know. So yeah, we're gonna be learning about Noah and the flood and what caused it. So yeah, we're gonna start reading. Chapter 6, verse 9. It says, this is the account of Noah and his family. Noah was a righteous man, blameless among the people of his time, and he walked faithfully with God. Noah had 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. This is very important. Let's make a pause right here. And these are the 3 sons of Noah, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, or Japheth. In Spanish, Shem is Sem, so it's without the H. So Sem, right? And this is very important because from the 3 sons of Noah, Shem, Cam, and Japheth, you know that Cam, after the flood ends, we're going to be learning about that story. Cam was very evil. He was very evil, and Noah damned his kids, like not Noah's kids, but like Cam's kids, so like Noah's grandchildren, because he was very evil. He did something very bad. And the Noah's firstborn is Sem, or Shem. He is very important because Abraham, if you're familiarized, I think that's how you pronounce the word. If you know Abraham or know his story, you know that he's the father of Jacob and Isaac, and then Isaac is the father of Jacob, and Jacob is Israel, right? Where the Jewish come from. So it's very important to remember Shem, right? And if you don't know about Abraham, and all these other people that I mentioned, Isaac and Jacob, Israel, Jewish people, probably you know them, but that's where Jewish come from, and all the other types of Israel. It's okay. We're gonna be learning about that as we read the Bible. So yeah. So basically, let's focus on Sem, which is Shem. He's very important because he's the father of Abraham. Well, Abraham is his descendant, right? He's not like the father, but he's like the great grandfather of Abraham. And then obviously Abraham had Isaac, Isaac had Jacob, Jacob was named Israel, Israel had the 12 tribes, which one of them is Judah, where the Jewish come from. So basically, Jewish people, or the Jewish, come from Sem, which is Shem. So when the World War II happened, Hitler and all this horrific stuff that he did, he's called, or yeah, you can like name him well, what Hitler did was called being anti-Semitism, or it's called anti-Semitism. Anti-Semitism is when you have this like you hate Jewish people, right? When you hate Jewish, that's anti-Semitism. So it's anti-Semitism, it's like sem. Anti in Spanish is anti-semitas, is the same thing. So anti-Semitism is like against anti-Semitism, like Shem's descendants. So this is a connection, a perfect connection, even after like what 6,000 years we still use this term anti-Semitism because they know that Jewish people come from Sem, from Shem. And it's crazy that it's like, oh, it's been like 5,000 years since Shem existed, and that's why we call them like anti-Semitism if you like hate on Jews, because they come from Shem. So this is a very interesting fact. So let's keep reading. It says, now the earth was corrupt in God's sight and was full of violence. We're going to know in a bit what kind of violence that was, because the book of Enoch tells a lot of that, like tells us a lot of that violence. So it says, now the earth was corrupt in God's sight and was full of violence. God saw how corrupt the earth had become, for all the people on earth had corrupted their ways. So God said to Noah, I am going to put an end to all people, for the earth is filled with violence because of them. I am surely going to destroy both them and the earth. So make yourself an ark of cypress wood. Make rooms in it and coat it with pitch inside and out. This is how you are to build it. The ark is to be 300 cubits long. So right now we can notice that God told Noah how to build the ark. So he was giving him instructions. So he was like, this is how you are to build it. The ark is to be 300 cubits long, 50 cubits wide, and 30 cubits high. Make a roof for it, leaving below the roof. Make a roof for it, leaving below the roof and opening 1 cubit high all around. Put a door in the side of the ark and make lower, middle, and upper decks. I'm sorry, guys. And it says, I'm going to bring flood waters on the earth to destroy all life under the heavens, every creature under the heavens, every creature that has the breath of life in it. I'm sorry, guys. So this is English is not my first language, and I have a Spanish channel where I read the Bible and everything. So when I pray in Spanish. When I read the Bible, I read it in Spanish. So yeah, that's why I'm not too like comfortable with the Bible in English, but it's all for the glory of God. So let's continue. And it says, I'm going to bring flood waters on the earth to destroy all life under the heavens, every creature that has the breath of life in it. Everything on earth will perish, but I will establish my covenant with you, and you will enter the ark. You and your sons and your wife and your sons' wives with you. You are to bring into the ark two of all living creatures, male and female, to keep them alive with you. 2 of every kind of bird, of every kind of animal, and of every kind of creature that moves along the ground will come to you to be kept alive. You are to take every kind of food that is to be eaten and store it away as food for you and for them. Noah did everything just as God commanded him. So basically, God was telling Noah, I'm going to send this flood into the earth. You have to put in the ark Obviously you, yourself, your family, your son's wives, your wife, your own wife, and then all these animals that I'm going to tell you, you have to put like male and female so that in the future they can reproduce. And you have to put into the ark food, right? Store all these type of food, different species, etc. So yeah, let's keep reading. It says, Noah did everything just as God commanded him. The Lord said to Noah, Go into the ark, you and your whole family, because I have found you righteous in the generation. Take with you 7 pairs of every kind of clean animal and its mate, and 1 pair of every kind of unclean animal, a male and its mate, and also 7 pairs of every kind of bird, male and female, to keep their various kinds alive throughout the earth. 7 days from now, I will send you rain on the earth for 40 days and for 40 nights, and I will wipe from the face of the earth every living creature I have made. So from when God was telling him all these things, after he had to do the construction of the ark and everything, 7 days from then, God was gonna send the flood, and it was gonna rain for 40 days on the earth. But I realized that I forgot to read some of the part of chapter 6. I'm sorry, guys. So there's like the title that says Noah and the flood right here. So I started from here, but this is chapter 6. I forgot to read you this part. That's where I just realized, because I was like, wait, I haven't read the part that says why the flood was caused. So we're gonna read that part that I was telling you guys about the book of Enoch. So I'm just gonna make a pause right here. Remember that we made a pause right where God told Noah that in 7 days he was gonna send the flood that was gonna last 40 days and 40 nights. Yeah. So okay, let's go back to this part, and it says, chapter 6, verse 1. It says, wickedness in the world. This is the cause. This is why God sent the flood on the earth. When humans began to increase in number on the earth and daughters were born to them, the sons of God saw that the daughters of humans were beautiful, and they married any of them they chose. So let's make a pause right here. It says in chapter 6, verse 1 and on, it says that the sons of God saw that the daughters of humans were beautiful and they married them. So we're talking here about the daughters of humans, which are humans, married the sons of God. So the sons of God were the angels. And we can know this because in the book of Job, it talks about the sons of God being the angels, because it says the sons of God came to God to like bring him messages from the world, and so came Satan, right? Because Satan was an angel as well before he was like thrown away from heaven and everything. So Satan was an angel, so he was considered to be one of the sons of God, right? It's not like the sons of God like Jesus. No, not like that, but it's like, it's basically the sons of God, all the angels. And a lot of people think that, well, not a lot of people, some people, it's like a minority of people, of Christians, I don't know what denomination, but they say that, oh no, angels cannot, it would be impossible for angels to like marry these humans that were women. That's impossible, blah blah blah. But like it says the sons of God, and they had, well, we're gonna read later, well, right now, that they had kids. The sons of God, which are angels, had kids with these humans, and these kids came out to be giants, right? And okay, a lot of people say, oh, the sons of God, it means that the good people, the good humans, married the daughters of humans, which are the bad humans. It's like, why would it say the daughters of humans? Because we're talking about humanity. And it doesn't make sense, because why would they have giants, right? So like nowadays, if I'm Christian and I marry someone that is evil and that doesn't believe in God, etc., am I gonna have giants with him? No, obviously not, because the DNA won't let you. Like, you have human DNA. He has human DNA. It doesn't matter if I'm good or, well, not all of us are good, right? But like, I'm talking about, like, it doesn't matter if, like, I am Christian, right? Because that's what a lot of people say. Oh, when it says sons of God, they mean like people who believe in God, versus people who don't. And it's like, no, because there's many people who get married like that. Sadly, a lot of people who believe in God marry people who don't believe in God, and like they don't have giants. So it's no, that's impossible. So obviously, if they had giants, something that's not uh let's say like in like nature, that's what I'm trying to say, nature, obviously it wasn't a human, it wasn't a human. So when it says the sons of God, it means angels. And in the book of John, it says that, and I think it's the book of John chapter 1. Let me look for it in my Spanish Bible. But it's the book of John chapter 1, because that's when everything starts with where the story with the story of Job. Oh my gosh, I'm trying to say John. But yeah, let me see. Job 1. Oh my gosh. Where? I'm very far away. Right here. Job 1. Okay, Job 1, verse 6. So I'm gonna read it for you guys here in the English Bible. Job. Oh my gosh, I'm trying to say John every time. Now I'm trying to say Job. Job 1, verse 6. It says, when a period of fasting had run its course. Oh my gosh, no, never mind. Okay, right here. Job 1, verse 6. One day the angel. Okay, here it says the angels. How? Okay, see? But in the Spanish Bible, I'm pretty sure it's the translation. But in the Spanish Bible, it says the sons of God in Job 1, verse 6. You can look for any other translations, because sometimes they change the translations. But it says angels, right? But basically, chapter 6, verse 2 of Genesis, it's the angels, the sons of God. And that's in Job 1, verse 6 as well. So yeah, we're gonna keep reading. And it says that basically they married, they had sons, and these sons were giants. These are called the Nephilim. And you guys can you can do your research as well. Look for the Nephilim, which is Nephilim. And a lot of Christians, they know that this happened. There's some like group of Christians that they don't believe that. It's just like it's the same group. It's the same group of Christians who believe that that hell doesn't exist. It's like, well, there's some Christians that don't believe that. They don't believe in hell, and they don't believe that this happened, even though the Bible says it. So yeah, we're gonna keep reading. So, okay, when the sons of God, which are the angels, saw that the daughters of humans were beautiful, and they married all of them that they chose. Then the Lord said, my spirit will not contend with humans forever, for they are mortal. Their days will be 120 years. So, it used to be 1,000 years. So humans used to live for 1,000 years. We can know that Adam lived for 930 years. And one of his descendants, which is, who lived 1,000 years? Oh no. Well, Seth lived 912 years. And Methuselah, he lived 969 years. So almost 1,000. But they used to live almost 1,000 years. But now God was like, okay, no, I'm just going to give 120 years to man. And I think that number is still till today. There's some people who are 120 years, 110, 102, and that's crazy, right? But even though nowadays, because we don't take care of ourselves, we live until like 60, or if we are lucky, right? Sometimes till 20, 30. But if we're lucky, 90, 80. But yeah, anyways, it says, okay, now it says in verse 4 of chapter 6, the Nephilim, which are the giants, were on earth in those days. And also afterward, when the sons of God went to the daughters of humans and had children by them. So the giants, the Nephilim, they're the procreation of the angels having kids with the daughters, right? Well, having children with the daughters of humans. They were the heroes of old man and renown. The Lord saw how great the wickedness of human race had become on earth, and that every inclination of the thoughts of the human heart was only evil all the time. The Lord regretted that he had made human beings on earth, and his heart was deeply troubled. So the Lord said, I will wipe from the face of the earth the human race I have created, and with them the animals, the birds, and the creatures that move along the ground, for I regret that I have made them. But Noah found favor in the eyes of the Lord. So that's it. That's the part that I skipped. So now this is everything that says about what happened. This is like the cost of the flood, right? After this, God was like, oh my gosh, no, I need to destroy humankind because there's a lot of evil. And there's not many details, but in the book of Enoch, it tells us what wickedness happened. Obviously, there's like a great wickedness in the angels, the group of angels, which were like the fallen angels. Nowadays Satan and the demons, which are the fallen angels, they are always like torturing man. They always want to make us fall into temptation, and they always use I don't know how to say this, like the sexual stuff. I don't know like the word in English, but like all the sexual stuff. They try to make us commit adultery, fornication, etc., etc. All these sexual immorality. That's what I'm trying to say. Sexual immorality. So that's what Satan and his demons always try us to fall into temptation to. So obviously, if they like work so hard for that, they obviously did this because the fallen angels are evil, and they did this to women back in those days to make God upset. So what wickedness happened like on the side of that? What happened is that the giants were so evil, guys. That's what it says in the book of Enoch. They were so evil that they started to, some things that God doesn't allow us to do is to drink blood, because if we eat an animal, we need to like wipe the blood away. We can't eat the meat with blood, because the blood of any living creature is the life of the creature. So it's like the soul in some way. So basically, if you're eating the blood, if you're drinking the blood, you're drinking or eating the life of the animal. So that's not good for God. So giants, the Nephilim, they were doing this. They were like eating all these animals, and they were like drinking its blood. That's what it says in the book of Enoch. And also they were eating humans. So they were committing like cannibalism and all of this. So the Nephilim were eating humans as well, because it says that they started eating all of their food. And obviously there's a big difference between a plate for me and a plate for a giant. Like they have to eat way more. So anything that I had to like cultivate, oranges, apples, whatever, they would eat everything because they were so hungry. So after that, it says in the book of Enoch that after eating all of our food, all of the humans' food, they started to eat humans. So, they would like grab them, and oh my gosh, it was so bad. So obviously all of this was happening. God was seeing all of this. He was like, I need to do something because this is not okay. No. So that's why he sent the flood. So now we're gonna skip to the part where we left on, and it says, oh my gosh, okay, right here. Noah was 600 years old when the flood waters came on the earth. So remember this, because we're going to talk about this in the next live, because it says how many years was Noah old, or how many year and months, he was old. If he was 600 years when the flood stopped or whatever, we're going to learn how many years that the flood lasted for, right? So it says Noah was 600 years old, like 600 exact, even, when the flood waters came on the earth. And Noah had his sons and his wife, and his sons' wives entered the ark to escape the waters of the flood. Pairs of clean and unclean animals, of birds, and of all creatures that move along the ground. Male and female came to Noah and entered the ark as God had commanded Noah. And after the 7 days, the flood waters came on the earth. In the 600th year of Noah's life, on the 17th day of the second month. So here it's telling us the second month, the 17th day of the second month. This will be like 17th of May 17, because God's calendar is different than ours. So God's calendar is how the Hebrews have their calendar. So the first month is April, like April, March, and it's not January. So it would be like March, no, like May, around like May, more or less. That's the second month, not March. So April is the first month. So the 17th of the second month, and Noah was 600 years old. That's when the flood waters came into the earth. On that day, all the springs of the great deep burst forth, and the floodgates of the heavens were opened, and the rain fell on the earth 40 days and 40 nights. So this is very important. I'm gonna make a pause here because this is a very important fact. Okay? So it says, so a lot of people know that the flood waters were caused by rain, right? A lot of rain, a lot of rain, a lot of rain. And it didn't stop for 40 days. Yep. But it wasn't only that. It wasn't only rain. It was something else. It was 3 things that happened that caused all this water to like move faster and faster. So one of the things it says right here in chapter 7, verse 11, it says, on that day, all the springs of the great deep burst forth. So there's like the springs of the great deep, right? From the ground. There was like an explosion, like just like volcanoes, but of water, you know? The second thing was that rain fell on the earth for 40 days and 40 nights. So rain. The rain comes from clouds, right? So it was raining from the clouds. 40 days, 40 nights. And the third thing is something very interesting. The floodgates of the heavens were open. So if you guys didn't know, and if you guys, I recommend you guys watching the first live where we talked about the creation of the earth. When God created the world, there was, it says on Genesis 1 that he separated the waters. And to separate the waters, he put a firmament in the middle of the waters, in the midst of the waters. So that firmament, he called it sky, right? And then he said that the waters from below were called the ocean, and the waters from above, he didn't like name them, but there's like waters above the firmament, which is the sky. So basically our world is like that, right? And then there's like the firmament. This is like the ocean, the earth. The firmament, which is separating basically the waters from below, which is the ocean, from the waters from above, which is the other half of the water. And that says that's in Genesis 1. I invite you guys to read it so you guys can know about this because it's very important. And that also tells us about the form of the how the earth is, you know, because you know a lot of people believe that the earth is like in this ball shape and everything, but that's not biblical. That's not in the Bible. And basically it's even not it doesn't make sense because you know water doesn't like attach to a ball. So yeah, it's just there's a lot of I made a video about it so you guys can go and watch it. It's very interesting. It's very interesting. But yeah, this is like how in Genesis 1 it tells us this water that's above the dome, which is the sky. And basically right here in Noah it says that there's in the book of Enoch it says that there's basically like windows on the firmament, on the sky, which if you open those windows, obviously the water that's above the firmament is gonna fall down, you know? So that's what happened here in the flood. It says, and the floodgates of the heavens were opened. once they were open, they were like, there's like a volcano upside down, you know? It's like this whole, oh, it's cascada in Spanish. I don't know what it's called in English. Oh my gosh, I forgot the word. But yeah, basically it's like volcanoes of water from below, and then there's whole like water from the skies, from the floodgates of the heavens, and then obviously the rain, which is like in the middle, which is, you know, the clouds, where the rain comes from the clouds. And it says, on that very day, exactly when that happened, that's when Noah and his family entered the ark. They had with them every wild animal according to its kind, all livestock according to their kinds, every creature that moves along the grounds according to its kind, and every bird according to its kind. Everything with wings, pairs of all creatures that have the breath of life in them, came to Noah and entered the ark. The animals going in were male and female of every living thing, as God had commanded Noah. Then the Lord shut him in. So basically, on that very day, he entered with his family, and all the other things that God told him to put in the ark were there. And it says that after they were in, then the Lord shut the door. So basically, God closed the door of the ark once they were all in. So that's very interesting. And it says, for 40 days, the flood kept coming on the earth. Remember, 40 days. And as the waters increased, they lifted the ark high above the earth. The waters rose and increased greatly on the earth, and the ark floated on the surface of the water. They rose greatly on the earth, and all the high mountains under the entire heavens were covered. The waters rose and covered the mountains to a depth more than 15 cubits. Every living thing that moved on land perished. Birds, livestock, wild animal, all the creatures that warmed over the earth, and all mankind. Everything on dry land that had the breath of life in its nostrils died. Every living thing on the face of the earth was wiped out. People and animals and the creatures that move along the ground and the birds were wiped from the earth. Only Noah was left and those with him in the ark. The waters flooded the earth for 150 days. So it says that the waters flooded the earth for 150 days. So the flood didn't last, well, yeah, probably like 150 days, but like we're gonna learn in the next live how much time did Noah and his family and all the animals and food spend, how much time did they spend on the ark, you know? Because obviously, okay, the flood lasted for some time, but they still had to wait to like all the water to come down and everything. So they had to, how much time were they in the ark, you know? Probably not how much time did the flood lasted for, because it says that the flood was on the earth for 150 days. But how much time did they spend on the ark? Because it's not like water goes away like that, you know, it has to like dry. It was like the whole earth covered in water. It's like trying to wait for the whole sea to like dry. It's crazy. Like how many years did that last it for? So yeah, we're gonna learn how many years were they on the ark. So we're gonna read that in chapter 8, which is the next live on Friday. So that's it for this live, guys. I hope you guys like this live. And if you like it, don't forget to subscribe, to click on the notification bell so that you know every time I upload another live or another video. And yeah, I'm very excited for you guys to watch this live. And if you like it, don't forget to share it for other people to watch it as well, and they can learn more about the Word of God. And also you can comment down below any thoughts or ideas or questions that you have. So that's everything for this live. Wait for the next one, which is Tuesday. We're going to be reading about the first chapter of the book of Matthew. And then after that, obviously one on Friday, which is the Old Testament. And we're going to be learning about this that I told you. Yeah, that's everything, guys. I'll see you in the next live. God bless you all. Bye.